My name is Sarah Scherer. I am the Maritime and Manufacturing Advocate for the Office of Economic Development for the City of Seattle. Whew, that's a long title. We're going to be talking about the maritime manufacturing and supply chain logistics today. And why should you care and why should you listen to me? I've been in the maritime industry for about 30 years. So I hope that at the end of this presentation, you'll actually might be interested in finding a career in this awesome industry. So have you ever thought about where your clothes come from, where your phone comes from, or where your food comes from? And I don't mean local big box stores or grocery stores. Most of the items have to move through what's called the supply chain. Let's use an apple from Eastern Washington as an example. An apple gets grown or picked in, let's say, Yakima, Washington. It gets packed up, put on a truck or a rail car, and travels all the way from Yakima to Seattle or Tacoma. The container is either unpacked, so it can be distributed locally to the grocery store, or the whole container is taken off the truck or the rail car and lifted onto a ship so that it can be exported to other countries or driven to another state. So in the other direction, let's say a piece of electronics gets manufactured in China or Korea. It's going to be loaded into a big box container and then put on a ship to sail across the Pacific to Seattle or Tacoma. Then that big container is offloaded and it's either distributed across in local area in Seattle or Tacoma, or it actually gets put on a rail car and a truck to be distributed across the nation. So this supply chain process and the different types of transportation is called intermodalism. And it's a really under-recognized way to serve our country and our communities. During COVID, these essential jobs that supported the supply chain, whether raw materials or manufactured products, ensured that we had what we needed during lockdown. And because of COVID, we realized that we weren't manufacturing enough inside the US. And hopefully there'll be a resurgence of manufacturing in the US soon. So why are we talking about this? We want to know or give you the information so you might be interested in these careers in manufacturing, maritime, and supply chain logistics. What is it really, specifically, and how are they all connected? And then what are all the careers in these jobs? So let's move forward. So why choose these careers? Who cares? What's in it for me? So why the maritime industry? The maritime industry's average annual salary is $67,000 before benefits for the maritime employee. That's more than $20,000 above the average wage in Washington. The average age of that worker is in their mid to late 50s. So there's great opportunity for advancement because all these people are about to retire. There are many, many, many different types of jobs in the maritime industry. There are 7 different groupings, including trades and professional jobs. The technology, electronics is throughout. Computer navigation systems, sensors on the hull, in the fishing nets, electronic motor controllers on the engines, network systems across ships, and design used in naval architecture. And it's also green, particularly in the Northwest. It's super green. Did you know that the first hybrid tug was designed and is being used right here in the Pacific Northwest? And actually carrying cargo on barges is a lot more environmentally friendly than on rail cars or trucks. 17,000 tons of dry cargo would equal, on one barge, would equal 16 rail cars and 70 trailers on the highway. So greenhouse gas emissions that we all worry about, freight trucks emit the most, freight rail cars then significantly less, and then towing on barges even less. So it's green. Why manufacturing? The average wage in the manufacturing is $87,000 plus, which is 30% higher than the state's average. And by the year 2025, some 2 million jobs within the industry will go unfilled. Manufacturing from food and energy to materials and consumer products, manufacturing of transportation equipment like aircrafts or trucks. Although this industry sector also includes building boats, trucks, equipment for space exploration, food processing, seafood, fish, fruits, vegetables, and beverages, forest products, lumber. And then there's also things called advanced manufacturing, high-tech products and processes that are cleaner and greener and flexible within the manufacturing industry. These advanced manufacturing makes extensive use of computers, high precision and information technology integrated with high performance workforce in the production area. So then why supply chain logistics? Well, there are low barriers to entry. It's aging workforce, also many different types of jobs. Supply chain is the flow of goods and services and information from raw materials to the final product. And logistics management is that flow and storage of the goods, so warehousing. And then there's the coordination and the movement of the supply chain by trucks, rail, delivery, or ships. And then from factory to fashion houses, farm to table, production facilities to retail, combines ocean cargo transportation with warehousing, land-based movements, customs, clearances to achieve the greatest efficiency and speed. So these three different types of jobs are all connected. These industries are interrelated and they're connected and they depend on one another. So these industries affect us every single day by the products we have and we use in our homes or while we're at work. So let's dive deeper into each of these different pieces and let's talk about what they actually are specifically and what kind of jobs are within it or careers. So I'm going to show you a short little video on the maritime industry so you can get a good overview of what it is and how it works.
Have you ever stopped to think just how many items you use on a daily basis thanks to the maritime industry? Without the maritime industry, we might be living in a completely different world. Think about it. The food we eat, the clothes we wear, the cars that we ride and drive around in, the appliances we use, and of course our cell phones and computers. The maritime industry is a conduit to the global economy that keeps our nation and all nations thriving through such an advanced market. And many cities rely on their ports as a major source of revenue. 74% of the world's trade is carried by ship. 95% of the U.S. international trade is transported by ship. 55% of the U.S. population lives within 50 miles of a coastline. 60% of the U.S. energy is transported by ship. The maritime industry is everywhere, and maritime activities are expanding, bringing benefits to people all across the world. The merchant marine, offshore oil subsectors, commercial fishery, and cruise companies have added growth in the industry. Naval architecture and naval, marine, and ocean engineering are fast-growing and dynamic fields with plentiful opportunities that are improving as people turn to the oceans for resources such as food, transportation, and energy. The maritime industry is of huge importance in terms of natural resources and energy, trade and industry, as well as sciences and leisure activities. Marinas are docks or basins with moorings and supplies for yachts and small boats. A marina differs from a port in that a marina does not handle large passenger ships or cargo from freighters. Comprised of nearly 42,000 extraordinary men and women, the Coast Guard is a unique branch of the military responsible for saving lives, protecting the environment, and defending America's coastlines and waterways. If you're looking for a little fun and some high seas adventure, there are some popular types of recreational sailing that may suit you. If you're a sailing novice, you might want to start out with small sailboats like dinghies, day sailors, and small keel boats. They're easy to maneuver, are usually less than 25 feet in length. These can be sailed by an individual or with one crew member. Aquaculture, the breeding, rearing, and harvesting of animals and plants in all types of water environments, is one of the most resource-efficient ways to produce protein and has helped improve nutrition and food security in many parts of the world. Globally, aquaculture supplies more than 50% of all seafood produced for human consumption, and that percentage will continue to rise. Internships are available so you can see firsthand how each of these parts of the maritime industry work. Here are some examples of what you could be making in the maritime industry. Whether if you are a maritime engineer, involved in maritime transportation, in the science field, or in the fishing industry. These are the maritime fields to be in because the projected growth is substantial for the upcoming year. So remember, the next time you gas up your car, take a cruise, enjoy delicious seafood or any food for that matter. It's all made possible from different parts of the maritime industry, bringing the world a little closer to you.
So this video was created in the Northeast, but it still holds the same here in the Pacific Northwest. But right now we're going to talk about what are the different pieces, parts of the maritime industry in the Pacific Northwest, or in and around Seattle and Tacoma and in Puget Sound. There are 7 different sectors within this one career or one set of maritime. So let's dive deep in each one of these. First, the water transportation. You guys know this. The first one you would probably recognize is the Washington State Ferries. There's Argosy, which is tours of the harbor. Then you've got uncruise, which are smaller adventure cruises that'll take people to Mexico or Canada or the Caribbean. Then you have the water taxis, which is much like the Washington State Ferries, but it's just a passenger ferry. And then you've got the huge cruise ships that come in like Holland America or that go to Alaska so we can see the ice. And so that's water transportation here in the Pacific Northwest. You also have marine support services. These services include things like commercial, recreational, and defense-related maritime, including boat dealers, marinas, fueling and lubrication businesses, naval architects, engineers, part suppliers, construction, to professional services such as attorneys, accountants, and federally funded support involving the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration or the Army Corps of Engineers, who runs the locks in Ballard. It holds all kinds of things. So even with that little list, the careers are naval architects, marine lawyers, human resources, talent acquisition folks, administrative assistants, accountants, financial analysts, business analysts, general counsel, software developers, IT, police officers, security guards, internal auditors, workforce directors, program managers, sales, and marketing. So most of these jobs in these professional services, marine services, would require a 4-year degree. But there's lots and lots in the maritime industry that you don't have to have a 4-year degree to be successful. So maritime and logistics. This includes ports and harbor operations, deep and shallow water good movement, inland water freight transportation, and refrigerated cargo warehousing and storage. This section includes many firms and services such as maritime construction firms who contract with the port and longshoremen. So if you were going to work on a boat, there are multiple different careers. So if you were in the deck department, that's where you would drive the ship and take care of the upper deck. Those are captains, mates, able-bodied seafarers, ordinary seafarers. The folks who keep everything running are the engineers, the chief engineer, the assistant engineer, the designated duty engineer, junior engineer, an oiler, a wiper. And then on larger ships like this pictured here, you have people that cook. So you have a chief steward who buys all the supplies and make sure that you have bedding and towels and soap. and manages all the cooking and ordering all the food. You have a chief cook, and a steward's assistant. And all those positions are needed right now. Vessel operations on land, you've got people that are doing something called a port captain, a port engineer, safety professionals, risk managers, sales, marketing, project managers. If you're on the shore side in terms of logistics, you've got U.S. customs agents, freight forwarders, customs brokers, import-export managers, operations managers, engineers, logistics analysts, maritime statisticians. You've got government agencies such as the Food and Drug Administration, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, U.S. Department of Transportation. There's so many, I'm getting tired reading them all. So there's just so many different options. And we're not even done yet. Now you have fishing and seafood processing. This includes commercial and recreational fishermen, seafood processing, aquaculture, fish farming, and wholesale and retail seafood markets. You've got jobs like marine biologist, fish processing, quality control. You have those same vessel operations. If you're going to work on a ship, you have that same set of people, the captain, the deckhands, the engineers on board the ship. Then on the shore side, you've got warehouse workers, delivery drivers, seafood brokers, human resources, recruiting, finance, analysis, business development, marketing folks, and administration. So again, a cross-section of really great jobs. Some you need bachelor's degrees for, and some you don't. So we also have shipbuilding and repair. This is the design, engineering, construction of new vessels, as well as repair of vessels needing rehabilitation. So shipyards are where ships are built, repaired, cargo ships, fishing vessels, ferries, yachts, all kinds of different types of vessels have to be fixed and maintained and built. What jobs make up these sectors? Riggers. So a rigger is someone who sets and repairs the rigging to lift things and move it over. You can imagine how hard it is to lift these vessels and engines. There's painters and construction laborers. There's welders, plumbers, electricians, machinists, diesel mechanics, computer-controlled machines, marine engineering, the design and the evaluation of these vessels once they've been built. Once they're in the yard and in marinas and yards, you've got general managers, yacht marine mechanics. So the difference between a commercial ship and a recreational is one is much smaller and they're used not for commercial or not to take things on trade or not to do science. It's for personal use. But there's a whole industry that we'll talk about right now. Recreational boating is everything from paddle boarding to a private yacht. And you have marinas. Who knew that running a marina would be a job? So some of the jobs are boat sales managers, service managers, licensed yacht brokers, so people who sell recreational boats, customer service, boat detailers and technicians, marine service office help, painters, varnishers, fiberglass, composites, which is what some of the recreational boats are made out of. Then you have the retail stores that sell all the things for recreational boaters in terms of general managers, cashiers, inventory specialists, operations managers, sales executives, stock associates, team leaders, and truck crews. So recreational boating is huge here in the Pacific Northwest, and some of the largest yachts get built right here in Seattle. And then there's also emerging technologies that are out there. Offshore wind energy is coming to the West Coast. It's really growing on the East Coast, but it's coming to the West Coast, which will be turbine technicians, researchers, scientists, engineers, trade workers, educators, focused on the business of sales. In fact, wind turbine technicians were recently named as one of the fastest growing American jobs of the decade. You also have wind energy. So these would be the wind energy, the wave energy. This would be a wave energy. And then the current energy extracting. So wave energy extracts energy from the waves. The current is extracting the energy from the ocean currents and the tides. And then on top of that, there's something called ocean thermal energy, which extracts the energy from the water temperature or the differences. There are also these hydrothermal vents that are really hot, and they take that energy. So what kinds of people shine in the maritime industry? Who's a good person to work in the maritime industry? Vessel operations. The way you work will have an impact on your job. Here's some basic work ethics that require, so stop. I'm going to start again. So who shines in the maritime industry? Who's the right type of person or the characteristics? If you're dependable, you've got integrity, you've got leadership, strong or stress tolerance, attention to detail, self-control, composure, initiative, responsibility, independence, persistence, being adaptable and flexible, physically fit, and like to travel away from home, this may be a career for you. In terms of support services, lawyers, finance, HR, it's mostly going to be 4-year bachelor's degree tracks. In fishing and seafood production, you want to be individualistic, carefree, rugged, and self-sufficient. And then marine support services, curiosity, love of the water, hardworking, adventurous, someone who would like to serve their country in a different way. Shipbuilding and repair, interested in how things are made, like to work with your hands and outside, like to tinker with stuff. Recreational boating is all of the above and love shiny boats and water toys. And then the emerging technologies that are coming out, it's all of the above that we talked about, but interested in the environmental sustainability as well. So at the end, there's going to be some resources for you. But if you're curious about the maritime industry, you can go to www.mapyourcareer.org/maritime, and it will actually walk you through the process, and it'll show you what jobs you don't need a 4-year degree, what jobs you don't need a 4-year degree, what jobs you might need an associate's degree or some moderate training, and then what jobs you would need a 4-year degree in advance. So that's the maritime industry. A lot of information in a short amount of time, but we're going to move on to manufacturing. So what is manufacturing? And this is a little bit kind of a cheesy little video, but it gets right to the point. So bear with it.
About your future. So let me ask you something. Do you know what you want to be when you grow up? Well, if you don't worry about it. All you have to know right now is what you think is fun and interesting. Do you like to make or build things or take them apart to see how they work? Do you like to play with cars or Legos? Do you like to fix things? Good, because I'm always breaking stuff. If you love to make stuff, maybe when you grow up, you should think about working in manufacturing.
You know, here in Michigan, we build so many great things. Maybe you could build the next great thing.
Manufacturers are the people who make all the products we use to make our lives better. And who better to tell us about it than some future manufacturers?
What the heck is a manufacturer anyways?
A manufacturer is like a car.
I think it means someone who designs things.
That's all right. I'm still learning too. What would your factory manufacture?
Cars, instruments, medicines. I would make a robot Pokemon. Candy. Cookies. Chocolate.
Sounds like my kind of factory.
I would make a football that never lost air.
Paper, microphones, cameras, clothes, all those things.
Boy, that's a lot of things.
The world will always need people to make things because there are so many things we need to live our lives. Everything from planes, trains, and automobiles to lamps, ladders, and bike locks, manufacturers make all the things we need to live, work, play, and even survive. How cool is it to be a manufacturer? Well, let's ask one.
So what do you guys manufacture here?
We manufacture special bar quality steel.
So you make the stuff that they use to make stuff.
That's exactly what we do.
Why is manufacturing so important?
Because it makes everything that we use on a day-to-day basis. Our steel goes into your cars, every car in North America.
What would you say to a kid who's thinking about getting into manufacturing?
It's important to understand math. It's important to have a like for science and how things are made.
What would the world be like if there was no manufacturing?
We wouldn't have anything to drive or eat or live in.
Oh my gosh, you're right. So making things is very important for all of us.
Very important, and there's a lot of jobs out there that have to do with manufacturing.
So don't worry about being a grown-up right now.
Just keep exploring Michigan and the world around you.
And if you enjoy making things, read everything you can about it. And who knows, you just might become a self-made manufacturer someday.
So again, this video was in a different state, but it still holds true actually in Washington as well. So manufacturing is where technology meets practicality and opportunity. So traditional manufacturing is defined as the act of converting raw materials into a finished product by using manual or mechanized transformational techniques. Nearly 1/4 of the manufacturing workforce age is 55 or older. So a demographic reality that signals a labor shortage for the nation's 5th largest employer. So advanced manufacturing uses extensive use of computers, high precision and information technology integrated with high performance workforce in a production system. And many of these techniques are green, flexible, and clean. So there's a ton of different diversity in these workforces. Local manufacturing, making everything from airplane parts to organic soups. You can choose not only your environment, but also the types of products you'd help create. There are approximately 425 occupations listed in advanced manufacturing alone. So this opportunity, promotion in manufacturing is manufacturing's middle name. Many employers like to get workers on the ground level and train them into management positions in short periods of time. This work makes a difference, from medical equipment that's literally saves lives to specialty food items to critical transportation equipment. Manufacturing makes a difference in your community and your day-to-day life. So who shines in manufacturing? Manufacturing employers are looking for people who are creative and curious and who might not have loved school, but who did love taking things apart. Maybe their parents' radio, or even helping fix your family car or tractor as a kid. Maybe you didn't have the right tools for the job, but in the end, you always managed to rig something together, alone or with a team, to get it done. When a manufacturing employer finds a worker like that, they'll help and teach the additional skills in-house. So from small family-owned shops to large corporation, there are hundreds of jobs and work environments in the manufacturing industry. Manufacturing career options include jobs in assembly, fabrication, production, engineering, maintenance logistics, management administration, metalwork, tool and die making, painting operations, quality control, processes, and more. So manufacturing plants, this is a way that you can see the different entry levels: assembler and a welder, machine operator and a welder, and an upper level be machine maintenance mechanics, engineering technicians, etc. Manufacturing plants and factories need more than just people who work on the production line. From office support to mechanics and designers to fabricators, Today, jobs in the the manufacturing include roles you may not have thought of for a while. An assembler fabricator could make $25,000 to $51,000 a year. Business operations could make anywhere from $46,000 to $130,000. Buying and purchasing agents can make up to $117,000. Electrical assembly folks can make up to $60,000 and much, much more. So again, if you go to mapyourcareer.org and manufacturing, you'll be able to see the things that require less than an associate's degree or some education, an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, or advanced information. It's a great way to figure out if this is right for you. So the next one is supply chain logistics. And this is actually a video for a company that has a local presence here in Seattle, but this is going to talk about their trucking and supply chain logistics within this company, but it's a good overview of how it's all connected.
Every successful company is in the opportunity business. What you do has a strong impact locally when thinking globally. That's where we fit in. We help you win at logistics. Crowley is the only company serving the Caribbean and Central America with full supply chain solutions. Our logistics workflow helps you save time and money while reducing complexity and making your retail business or manufacturing operation more efficient and profitable. Count on us to book, pick, load, confirm, ship, clear customs, warehouse, consolidate, and deliver on time, every time, from anywhere in the world, with coordination and cargo visibility at every step. Our integrated liner and logistics supply chain solutions increase the velocity of your supply chain while reducing the total landed costs of your products or materials. Here's how. Cargo originating in the United States can be transferred or cross-docked into ocean containers at our warehouses around the country, saving you equipment repositioning expenses. Or cargo not moving directly to the port for ocean transport can be accepted into any of our warehouses around the country and consolidated with other products and materials for ocean shipment. Crowley's vessel service is frequent and reliable between the U.S., the Caribbean, and Central America. And we offer a full complement of equipment sizes and types. When cargo arrives at its destination port, we can expedite customs clearance and immediately deliver it to your location or store it in one of our nearby distribution centers until you need it. We even sort, palletize, and consolidate your merchandise prior to delivering it to your retail point or manufacturing facility. With our just-in-time delivery services, there are no more worries about bloated inventories or inventories running short. And throughout every step of the process, you can keep track of all shipments with Crowley's emerging technologies. Need to ship full containers? We've been doing that between the U.S. and most markets in the Caribbean and Central America for more than 60 years, providing customers with reliability, dependability, and value. Large shipments, small shipments, full container load, or less than container load, count on Crowley to deliver what you need, when and where you need it. Grow your business and win at logistics with Crowley.
You saw everything from boxes to warehousing to forklift drivers to people working in an office. It's all connected. So supply chain management is what connects all of these different things together, the manufacturing and the raw materials to getting on the ships. So supply chain management combines the flow of goods and services and information and capital right from raw materials to its final product, from sourcing those raw materials, procurement of the customer requirements, conversion to final product, and then delivering it on time to the customer. So around here, it could be anything from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, There's supply chain specialists, analysts, technicians, production managers, material management, procurement managers, inventory control, contract managers, sales, operations manager, warehouse associates, package handlers, delivery drivers, package drivers, planners, etc. Now, some of these warehouse jobs may not pay a lot in the beginning, but they're great jobs to be able to work yourself through college or work yourself through education. And did you know that UPS drivers after 3 years make over $100,000 a year? It's a unionized work, and so they actually do really well and make good money. So you could be in transportation. And again, go to www.mapyourcareer.org and it'll ask you some questions, and it might take you to transportation, where this one's a little bit different, but you'll be able to see entry level in the middle and then going out with more training or more experience around the outside in warehousing, transportation, groundwater, air, logistics planning, or maintenance. So I hope you can see that it all tied together. So whether it's raw materials or manufactured goods, they have to go on trucks and trains and airplanes and ship. And the only thing we didn't talk about today was airplanes, and that's a whole other story. But it's all connected. So if any of this piqued your interest in all those different jobs, here's some more information for you. If you're interested in some school and education programs, there are Seattle Skill Center programs that have to do with manufacturing and vessel operations. Highline has Highline School District also has skill centers. There's actually a brand new maritime high school that's going to be started in the fall, so you could check that out. Then post high school, the Seattle Central College has the Seattle Maritime Academy. They also have a boat building and repair program that's at the Wood Technology Center. At South Seattle College, at the Georgetown campus, they have a Boilermakers Apprenticeship, which is basically welding and more. And then they also have a 6-month program that's for maritime shipyard welding. So if you're interested in this, stop this video, write down these links, and check them out. There's also resources and other youth programs. So I talked a lot about these Map Your Career Maritime, Map Your Career Manufacturing. If all you remember is www.mapyourcareer.org, it'll take it all the way through the process, and you can figure out what you want. There's also great information on kingcountymaritime.com. There's also great information about the fishing industry on Pacific Northwest Seafood 101, and then youth programs. If you're interested in internships or getting time out on the water or learning more, you can go to youthmaritimecollaborative.org. They have internships in the maritime industry specifically. There's Sound Experience that operates the Schooner Adventurous, and they've got great programs. There's Salish Sea organization, and they have great programs. Sail Sandpoint, you can learn how to sail. This CWB org is the Center for Wooden Boats that's down at the bottom of South Lake Union, and they'll teach you how to build boats and sail boats. And the Northwest Maritime Center, which is over in Port Townsend, but they have programs here in the Puget Sound area. So I know that was a lot, and it was fast and furious, but I hope that you give us a chance and choose maritime manufacturing and supply chain logistics for your career. Thanks for joining me today.